Let's start your search by talking about references, because your references can be critical to how quickly you'll be able to find a job. Now, presumably, your references are people who you know pretty well, and if you don't know them very well right now, it's time to create that relationship. Typically, your references are people who have supervised your work at some point in your career, and if you're listing them as references, well, they must have liked your work, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be listing them as references. I don't mean to state the obvious here, but if you know somebody in a supervisory position who liked your work, well, first, if they're working with a new company now, ask them about potential career opportunities with their new company. And secondly, even if they are working at the same company that you worked with them at, I don't know them personally, but I would be willing to bet that they have some friends at the same level that they are at who work at other companies. Right? So here's what you need to do. First, please go read the blog that I've written on our blog page called How to Give and Get Good References. I'm not going to rehash all of that information right here in this video. There's too much there. There's a lot of good information that is important, but more than we can cover in this one video. Within that blog, though, I discuss some questions that you're going to want to ask your references as you try to prepare them to be good references for you. While you're asking those questions, I have one more to add to your list, and it comes from the fact that during the interview process, if the hiring manager you're interviewing with knows someone at one of your prior employers who probably worked with you at the time, they're reaching out to make those reference calls without you even listing those people as references, which they really shouldn't do, but it happens way more often than you think. And it does prompt an interesting thought that, while you're working, everyone around you is likely going to be a reference for you at one time or another, whether you want them to be or not. And if they know a potential hiring manager who knows that they worked with you at the time, they're going to get a call. So you always want to be working at a level that would inspire good references with everyone that you work with at all times. But that's another subject entirely. What I'm driving at here is, what if you tried doing the same thing but in reverse? Right, what I mean is, instead of them going in the back door to find out about you, why not you go in the back door to a company? Ask your references, and anyone that you worked with for that matter, who you feel confident that they liked your work, who they know who might be in a position to hire someone at another company. And let them know that you won't use their name if they don't want you to, but obviously you certainly appreciate it if you could. But your goal here is that you just want to reach out to these people and find out what the forecast for hiring looks like at their company over the next couple of months. Why not get the people who know you and your work best working for you? Use their connections to help you get in the next door. The best way to find a job is through networking, right? Well, of all the people that you know, your immediate family, your close friends, your acquaintances, or your coworkers, who is the most likely to know someone who might be able to hire you? Your coworkers, yes. And you need to create a plan to ask all of your former coworkers first. This should be your best source of leads, of tangible leads. This is kind of like what we were talking about in the technical tips section when you were searching for jobs online. You want to start with the absolute best match first, with as many keywords as possible, which is what we were talking about at that point. Start with the absolute closest matches first, and then widen your search if you don't get any results. But you want to start there first in case you do get a hit, because then you can apply right away. Nothing gets you in the door faster than a direct referral from someone who knows and likes your work. Have you ever been asked to be a reference for somebody? And again, if you need advice on specifically how to be a great reference for someone, go check out that blog article and you'll learn the exact steps necessary to do that. This video, though, is part of this search tab. So we're only going to be talking about how to search for a new position here. And this is another very easy option for you. When you get a call from an employer about your friend, give them the best reference that you can, but before you get off the phone, assuming you don't do the exact same thing that your friend does, if he's going for a cost accounting job and you're also a cost accountant, you don't want to throw yourself into the same mix for your friend. But assuming you're doing different things, try this. Before I let you go, can I ask you something? I'm also looking for a new position right now, and I'm a Java developer. do you know of any Java development positions that are open within your company right now, or maybe you know of one elsewhere? Now, let them answer, and if you get, no, I'm sorry, I don't know any openings for Java developers right now, thank them for letting you know, no problem. I appreciate you giving it some thought, and, if something comes to mind, you've got my number. Thanks again. Now, I know some people might be a little bit uncomfortable with this, and I do understand that, but this is one of those things that you really need to think through before you just take the easy, most comfortable way out of the conversation. Realistically, what are the chances that you're ever going to speak to this person ever again? I mean, really, how much impact will this person have on your life after this phone call if they don't have a job opening and don't know of a job opening? I mean, what is the worst that could happen? I mean, what if they actually said, oh, I can't believe you just asked that question. No, we don't have any job openings. And you know what? I wouldn't tell you about one even if we did. Okay, first of all, that's never going to happen. But secondly, what if it did? You know what? Will your dinner plans change tonight because they said that to you on the phone? Are you going to go to bed at a different time tonight because of that phone call? Are you going to wear something different tomorrow because they said that? No, nothing in your life is going to change because they were rude with you on the phone. But again, they're probably not going to be rude with you on the phone. The thing is, you're going to be exactly where you are right now, right? Which is looking for a job. But they definitely won't say yes if you don't ask them. The answer to every unasked question is always no. This might be a very tough question to ask, but again, the name of this website is speedupmyjobsearch.com. It's not makemyjobsearcheasier.com, right? Finding a job might involve doing some things that you wouldn't naturally do, but there's always a purpose for every move that I'm going to recommend here, and it will always be focused on helping you find a job faster. Your warm leads, people you know, and the contacts of people you know should be your first resource to tap into, because if they have a connection for you, you'll have the highest probability of getting an offer. And I always hear those amazing stories about someone who met some random person at some random place and the magic of networking. The one I heard this week was there was a guy who heard about a job lead while he was standing in line at a jewelry store, and he followed up on it and he landed the job. That's a great story, but seriously, where are you going to have the best odds of discovering a credible job lead? Standing in jewelry store lines all day or asking your coworkers? So let's look for some more ideas to get quality referrals. And I'll tell you, the absolute best referrals are going to come from people who are invested in your search, from people who genuinely want to see you find something that will work for you. And I know that concerns some people because they think that, without a huge team of people whom they really know well, who are pulling for them, that they're losing out on a huge source of leads, because not everybody has that. Maybe you don't have family in town, and maybe you're new to the area, you don't have a lot of friends in the area, or maybe you're just uncomfortable asking friends and family for leads. Regardless, that's not a problem. There are ways to get people invested in your search, even people you don't know very well, and people that you haven't even met yet. Now, there's two key ways to do that from a couple of groups of people that you're going to need to be interacting with, and even a very subtle way to get family members or close friends involved in helping you with your search without it coming across as inappropriate, without making you uncomfortable with asking them to help you with their search, with your search. And you know what, I'm going to walk you through that one first here, and then we'll dig into those two groups and how to get them involved in your search. That way you can develop some referrals. So first, and please try not to jump ahead here and try to figure out where I'm going with this before I get there, okay? Follow me all the way through. So, does anybody know that you're watching these videos right now and that you're either a member of speedupmyjobsearch.com or that you're thinking about it? If not, tell someone that you watched a few of these videos. And I'm not telling you this so that you'll spread the word about speedupmyjobsearch.com. I'd love if you did, but that's not the point here. You can do this for any job search site that's got videos on it, right? Just tell somebody that you watched some job search advice videos. And then when you do, what are they going to say? Well, naturally they're going to say, okay, well, how were they? Right? Now at this point, you have a choice. You can either say, it it was okay. Some headhunter yapped at me for a while about some job search strategies, whatever. Or you could say, you know what, it was fine. But I'll tell you what, I walked away with a couple of really great ideas, this and this. And I really need to find a way to start doing these things. I'll tell you what, maybe you can do me a favor here. A week from now, would you mind asking me if I tried these things? And maybe that's going to motivate me to try to start doing these things. Now, both of these answers cost you the exact same amount of money, right? You're not going to be any more tired saying one of these answers over the other one. But one of them will significantly impact your job search, actually in two different ways. First, you will be more motivated to try those ideas. So, if you find a couple of ideas through this program and you realize you do need to be doing these things, well, this is going to help you to get to doing them. But secondly, and maybe even more importantly, is that you're going to get that person invested in your search. It's human nature to want to help other people, and that person is going to feel like they're helping you. And then when they ask you next week, chances are excellent that they're going to have some additional ideas for you and possibly some job leads that they've heard about. I guarantee you that if they do make a note to ask you about your search next week, that this week they're going to be more in tune with the job market and what's going on. And if they see a lead for you, they're going to let you know about it. And then from there, it's not going to be a big stretch to ask them, hey, would you mind keeping an eye out there in case you hear of something from maybe one of your friends who might be looking for something or looking for somebody who does what I do? And this whole situation happened. Your ability to get them looking for leads for you because they're now invested in your search. This whole thing happened because of your choice to watch these videos and then tell somebody about it. And then your choice on how to respond appropriately when they ask you how it went. It was all your choice. Essentially, that family member or friend that you told to check back with you would become a mini accountability group of sorts without calling it that. Creating an accountability group with a family member or a very close friend for extended periods of time can really cause some friction. So I would caution you against that. You really don't want to jeopardize your relationship with that person. You just want to keep them keeping an eye out for you for potential leads. Accountability groups are a really effective method for job search that you can employ. Finding a small group of people who are all in the same boat as you can be extremely helpful. And this could be just 2 people in a group, or it could be 4 or 5 people, usually not more than 5 though. A great place to find people for this are at job clubs, right? But if you don't know one of those that's near you, find a job fair or ask some people who are just some friends who have some goals that they want to accomplish, right? Maybe some people from church or wherever, and even if their goal is not finding a job, just something that they'd really like to accomplish, they might be interested in starting this group. And call it a mastermind group or whatever you want. Just remember, this is not a support group to complain about the job search process. It's important you use your time productively for accountability, for leads, and motivation. The most important part of this is that you're going to have multiple people who get invested in your search, right? Many of the groups I know have a rule that you cannot disband the group until everyone has a job. So then you'll have extra motivation to help everyone in the group land quickly. I do recommend making this a priority. Write this down on a sheet of paper. Find an accountability group and then put that in your do folder. This needs to be a priority because this will instantly add people to your network who are invested in your search. Last but not least, another group of people who have the potential to help you find a new position and hand you quality leads are HR professionals and hiring managers. And here's the situation. Have you ever been to an interview that you just knew was not going well, right? And it happens to the best of us. For whatever reason, it's just not a match between you and this particular position. And it's obvious to both of you, both you and the interviewer, that you're not a good fit for this. And you realize it while you're still sitting there. Well, for situations like that, you want to keep this question here in your back pocket and ask them this. I'm sure in your position that you've got the opportunity to talk with lots of different headhunters to help with your positions. Do you know of any good ones who you would recommend I talk to? Now, the purpose of this question is not to get the names of headhunters. I mean, don't get me wrong, if they give you the name of a good one, call them, but the point of asking this question is to get the HR person and the hiring manager invested in your search. Once they go out of their way to give you a name, they're essentially contributing to the success of your search, and it will be of interest to them to see a successful outcome. This opens the door for follow-up so that you can say thanks. You know, hey, I appreciate that name, and let them know that you called the person and that they were really helpful. And as you build rapport over a few check-in calls, you can give them a quick, you know, hey, by the way, since you know my background pretty well, if you ever hear of a position that might fit for me, please keep me in mind. Now, if it's an HR person and they go to a conference, for example, with other HR people and they hear of jobs, or they just go to lunch with an old friend who's also in HR from another company, they hear about a job that could be a fit for you, well, they would look great for making that recommendation to both sides, both you and the company that they're recommending. So you can apply with an inside referral. Now, if you can get HR people invested in your search, you're going to open the doors to a world of leads that you never knew and never would ever see anywhere else, because they've got jobs that don't even have job descriptions written yet because they've got to write them. You can't get much more hidden than that. The key to strong referrals from your own references, from accountability groups, and from HR professionals is simply to get them willingly invested in your search. And it's not as hard to do as it might seem. You just need to do it, right? And you can. I think you'll be surprised at what you can turn up if you give it a shot. As far as resources go for this section, there's really just one book that I want to recommend here, and I know it's available in audio form also if you'd rather listen to it. It's by Rick Pitino, and it's called Success is a Choice. And I'll tell you, this book has nothing to do with job search and everything to do with job search. Rick Pitino is a basketball coach, and I'll put all my cards face up on the table here. I am not a basketball fan at all, but I still love this book. It's truly one of my all-time favorites. It's very easy to relate to, even for non-basketball fans such as myself. The premise here is that success truly is a choice. You know, it's not a fortunate set of circumstances. It's not a lucky break. You choose to ask your references and coworkers for referrals. You choose to find and join an accountability group. When somebody asks you what you thought of the videos here on speedupmyjobsearch.com, when you tell them about it, it's your choice on how you respond. This really is a great book, very motivating, and if you need some motivation as you're continuing to work hard in your job search, I highly recommend it. There's more information about it on this page, and of course, there's a link where you can pick up a copy for yourself. So here's your assignment for this section. First, make a list of all your current references as well as any previous coworkers who you could still get in contact with. These people know your skills and might have some leads. So put that list in your Now folder to find names, numbers, and emails to compile that list and then make a plan to reach out to all of them. Next, remember that question I recommended you asked at the end of your reference call when you are being the reference? It went like this. Before you go, can I ask you something? I'm also looking for a new position right now, and I'm a Java developer. Do you know of any Java development positions within your company right now? Or maybe you know of one somewhere else. Write that down with a pen so it sticks in your head, and put it in your Now folder and keep taking it out and reading it until it's memorized. This is a question you need to be comfortable asking, so get to know it and be ready to use it, not just for the reference calls, but whenever you see the opportunity. Remember, the answer to every unasked question is always no. Next on your list is to tell someone that you watched some videos from speedupmyjobsearch.com, and when they ask you what you thought, be ready to tell them that you walked away with 2 or 3 really good ideas, and you hope that they'll ask you about them next week. That's going to get you working on those things, and it's going to get them invested in your search. And then look around for an accountability group that you can join. This will be one of the most important steps that you take in this process. So make sure it gets done. If the subject matter is hard to select, you're not sure what you need to talk about, well, pick a video each week from speedupmyjobsearch.com to watch and then bring it in and discuss it in the next job club meeting. Try the tactics discussed and get the group working on them. If you don't have weeks to find a job, find a partner to go through all this material and meet daily until you get through it all. This will inspire some positive conversations and motivation to keep your job search going in a proactive forward motion. Last but not least, there was one more question for you to memorize, which was, I'm sure in your position, you have the opportunity to talk with lots of different headhunters to help with your positions. Do you know of any good ones who you would recommend I talk to? This one isn't really one you want to be thinking about going into an interview, but if you need it, then you should know it. So commit that to memory, and then you'll have it at your disposal should you find yourself in that situation. Those HR contacts are valuable resources. So that's really it. There's a timeline of events below this page as usual, so you can skip right to the parts of the video that you want to rewatch. It's time to get to work.